do you consider yourself a vulnerable man or a strong man in a relationship?
Strong. Otherwise,
Okay.
I wouldn't be with my wife for 6 years.
So I kind of want to call you out a little bit because
Sure.
you said you think you're a good guy, but vulnerable guys versus the good guy. Which one are you like? Are you not vulnerable with your wife at all? Do you not talk to her about anything? Because you literally said that
I'm
you're
not
either a
vulnerable.
vulnerable guy or a good guy. You're not. So you're basically saying a vulnerable guy is not a good guy, and a good guy is
No.
not vulnerable.
No.
You
I'm
did.
a
You said
good
that. I wrote
guy.
it
If
down.
I was to rate myself, I'm a good guy who effectively communicates with my wife. And you were exactly just saying what I said before. A good guy will come to you knowing what he's got as values and will tell you his demons. You worded it differently in terms of communicating your triggers and whatnot. That's exactly what I meant when I said your demons. Here are the shit that triggers me. Please don't poke at it. But if you do poke at it, I'll try to be understandable. But if you keep doing it, I'm willing to walk away. That is not vulnerability.
Well, that's
That is
communication, but you
communication.
also said, and I wrote it because I wrote it down.
Yeah, okay.
You said a
Yeah,
vulnerable guy versus the good guy, and you said
yeah.
that a vulnerable guy, basically you said a vulnerable guy versus the good guy, which is basically saying the vulnerable guy
Yes,
is not a good guy and a good guy is
yes.
not vulnerable.
What is vulnerability? Define vulnerability to me. Because what you're
Well,
saying to me
so
is
you logged in a
effective
little bit
communication.
late. Yeah, so you logged in a little bit late, but what I said earlier is to allow a man to be vulnerable to you, you have to be a safe space for him. You have to bring him peace. You have to bring him no drama. You have to be a safe haven. You have to be that you're like coming home to. You're like fresh sheets out of the dryer. The second you
So,
bring any sort of toxicity or just unfamiliarity to a situation, he's going to retract. Same as I would retract. The second I don't feel safe with you is the second I'm not going to be vulnerable with you.
so I'm taking that vulnerability is being yourself wholeheartedly.
Yes.
That's not vulnerability to me. And I don't go
What
into a
is
relationship
vulnerability to
pretending to be
you?
someone. Vulnerability is sitting there exposing every single thing that could potentially kill you literally or emotionally and say, here you go. Please don't kill me. Here is the absolute power to destroy me as a human being in all that is me. Emotionally, physically, mentally. That is vulnerability to us. You talking about us talking to you about our trauma and what we haven't healed or healed from. That's what I'm picking out of vulnerability that women want from us.
So I don't agree with that. I don't feel like I need to
Okay,
know what would kill
then
you.
let's
Like,
change the vulnerability term, because vulnerability is to be vulnerable. Me being myself is not vulnerable. That's just me being me. Me
Okay,
being the goofball or being...
can you define the vulnerable? Can you define it first?
I just
So we
did.
have
I
could you,
just did. Vulnerability is giving someone else the power to absolutely destroy you as a being, whether that physically, mentally, or emotionally. You talking about trauma, like the first guy in the video, is exactly what vulnerability apparently was. He has given a woman the power to emotionally wreck this guy, which ultimately it has. And you keep referring to him that he's such a vulnerable guy. That's exactly my point. Is vulnerability being myself, or is it revealing to you exactly what it is that hurts me and how you can hurt me, and then leaving you to decide whether you will do it or not?